guys, Diane here with the Great Monster Review, and today I have a very fun video. I am obviously still in Halloween mode. I have my Scream sweatshirt on, and I am ready for Halloween horror movies. These are my top 13 horror movies. I wanted to do a little more of an obscure list. I'm not going to have Halloween on here. I don't have Trick or Treat or Freddy Krueger, The Omen, The Exorcist, things like that, because I feel like if it is already a costume, I feel like you probably already know about. So these are my top 13 that you may have forgotten or you didn't even know about. So a lot of these are going to be actually found on Shudder. I love the Shudder app. It has so many good horror movies. You can either sign up for the free 7-day trial or you can spend the $6.99 and watch all the movies you want for all of Halloween. So first, let's start off with The Wind. And this movie legitimately scared me. I watch horror all the time. I read horror all the time. I listen to horror all the time. And this really scared me. So this is about a woman. She's isolated on a deserted prairie and where something sinister born of the land is toying with her. It's haunting her. It's terrorizing her. And she's not sure if she's losing her freaking mind, just being alone all the time, or if it's really some force that's born of, you know, the haunted land that she's inherited. But like I said, this was so scary. I literally had to turn the light on. This is definitely something that I would recommend that you watch with a friend. And then we have Ghost Stories, another movie I just happened upon. You know, when you kind of look at the movie and it'll show you like a little preview, I just happened to see Bilbo Baggins on there. I was like, okay, I'm watching this because if he's in it, he's not going to steer me wrong. But this is about a professor. He exposes fraudulent ghost stories. So he's heard about 3 in particular stories that no one can really explain. They are just really strange and really just unfathomable. So he has put his mind to it that he's going to solve these. He goes from each person, they tell him what has happened, and they seem to oddly enough line up to something that has happened in his life. So the story just goes from there, and there's a lot of creepy images in this movie. There's a lot of creepy parts where I was like, it was just scary. This movie really scared me. I had no idea I was going to love this movie. I've been telling anyone who will listen how much I loved it, how it scared me, and why they need to watch it. And then next we have Hell House LLC. This is probably a little more of a popular one. I may have been a little late to the game on this one, but this is about friends. They are actually trying to create a haunted house walkthrough in an actual abandoned haunted hotel. And obviously doesn't work out. It works out for some people, but it doesn't work out for them. And so this has creepy clowns. It has a little bit of everything, anything that you're looking for, especially in a haunted house movie, it's all there. I also kind of put in Hell House Origins, the Carmichael Manor as well, because I'm not usually into, sequels or the third or the fourth, but this one I really did enjoy. Another one that is really atmospheric, really creepy. And this one, they are actually visiting the manor, the house that the family, where it all originated. So this is a really good one, especially if you're looking for something more, with, crunching leaves and, seclusion and all that. This has all of it. Next, we have the Mortuary Collection, and this has become a favorite of mine. I watch it every year. This is about a young woman. She is seeking work at a mortuary. She's talking to the mortician, kind of asking about the town and asking about him. This goes through a series of different stories that all kind of culminate and come together in a sinister and unhinged climax. This is really good. There's a lot of different stories in here. I rewatched it before I actually started taping, just as I was getting ready, because I like to have it on the background. And I kind of forgot that there are some stories that are a little more unhinged than others, but it's a really good time. And this is definitely something that's a little more lighthearted and a little more fun for Halloween. Next, we have The Dark and the Wicked, and this is more of a heavy horror movie. This is not something light. This is definitely gonna kind of take you down. It's not gonna be something that you're like, oh yeah, that was kind of a fun horror. This is a deep horror. But this is about adult children. They return to their family home that is now shrouded in sorrow after the loss of their father. They come to realize an entity may have taken their mother and now seeks them as well. This movie, I was really not expecting. I remember when I watched this movie, I had COVID. So I was already in a dark place. But after I watched this, I was like, man, I guess my life really isn't as bad as I thought it was. But this is a favorite of mine. I haven't watched it since then, but I've been thinking about watching it. And when I think about watching it, I'm like, that's a really heavy movie. I don't know if I'm in the mood for it, but after making this list, I think I will watch it. And I'll make my husband watch it with me. And next we have Possum. This is a very slow burn. It's one of those movies that you're kind of along for the ride, and then at the end you're like, oh, what the hell just happened? Or this is about a disgraced puppeteer. He is set on destroying his own creation when he is forced to return to his childhood home and confront his stepfather regarding horrors from the past. This movie, my daughter actually brought to me. I think she just saw the cover and wanted to watch it. And I was like, no, you're definitely not watching that. But I'm going to watch it. This was, like I said, this is a really, really slow burn, but it's so worth it. I feel like it's something that is really going to stick with you. I could see this being a book and turned into a movie. It's not how it is, but a really good movie. And then next we have Deadstream. This list is a little up and down because this is more of a fun one. Deadstream is about a disgraced internet personality. He's trying to win his audience back by staying in an abandoned haunted house overnight. So he's like, I'm just trying to win people back. Let me just see how this goes. It goes horribly wrong. Of course, he unleashes a sinister entity, and just things go from bad to worse, but it's all caught on camera, thankfully. So that's the important part. But this was a lot of fun. We watched this as kind of like a fun horror movie night, but it's actually really scary. There's parts that are scary, but it's a little more lighthearted, I guess you could say. And then next we have Late Night with the Devil. This was released, I think it was in April, so you may have heard of this one. It's a little more popular than some of the ones on this list, but this is about a late night host with ties to an invasive cult. He plans a late night Halloween special unlike any other. This was really creepy. It had a really good backstory to it. It wasn't just creepy. It did surprise me because the main setting is on the stage of the show, but everything that happened in and surrounding the show was really scary. So this is another one that I really enjoyed. Next, we have movies that are found on Hulu. I tried to kind of keep them all in one central location, but it just didn't work out that way. First, we have Lord of Misrule, and as you can see from the cover, I don't care what this movie is about. I'm watching. I don't care what it is, because this is just pulls me in and just really makes me curious as to what's going on. So this is about a priest who must now search for her daughter that went missing during a ritualistic harvest festival as she uncovers dark secrets the town wants to keep buried. This movie was really creepy. It was very atmospheric. It was a little heavier than some of the other ones, but it is something that I feel like is good for the Halloween season, especially if you're into the ritualistic harvest type of movies, almost like maybe a tamer Midsummer, if you've seen that movie. And if you haven't, that's a great one too. That's really popular. That's the only reason I didn't put it on here. Plus it's in the summertime. So I was like, well, maybe not. This is me not talking about Midsummer. And then we have Event Horizon. And this is a rescue team is tasked with investigating a mysterious reappearance of a ship that's been lost in space for 7 years. This movie is not only one of my favorite horror movies, it's just one of my favorite movies of all time. The first time I watched Event Horizon, I was like, how have I not already seen this? This was another one that I feel like isn't talked about enough, even though it is made in like the 1990s. The graphics, the storyline, everything is so well orchestrated and so well put together. This is like Nick Cutter. This is Nick Cutter in space. If you're really into Nick Cutter movies, if you're into all that guts and gore and cosmic entities and all of that, you'll really love this one. This is probably one of my favorites on the list. And then next we have, these are all on Netflix. I tried to get a few off of there as well. So first we have Malevolent. And it's funny, when I was making this list, I was just, trying to put the list together, whatever, trying to get a poster for you guys to see the cover. And I found it on Rotten Tomato, and it was like, 18% or something. I'm like, what? I don't agree with that. I hope that doesn't deter you from watching this, because I thought it was a good movie. So this is about a brother and sister team. They fabricate ghost stories and encounters for cash when they take a job in an estate with paranormal activity. And obviously it goes wrong. Everything goes awry. But this is set in a very haunted atmosphere. It's, more fun for Halloween if you're into that, trying to prove whether or not something is either paranormal or just, creepy. So this is another good one that I would suggest for just this creepy horror, movie night. And then we have The Autopsy of Jane Doe. A father and son team of coroners perform an autopsy on an unidentified woman with mysterious wounds. This movie was really scary. I accidentally made my mom watch it, and she was like scarred for life. But this is really, if you're looking for a little more off the beaten path, I would say that this is a good option. And then last but not least, we have The Void. And this you can find either on Prime or Peacock. And I just happened to run across this movie. A lot of movies on this list I just happened across. So maybe that's why I was so excited to kind of share these with you, because I'm like, oh, I found something really good. You have to watch it. But this is The Void. Townsfolk are trapped inside a hospital by cult-like figures that have mysteriously invaded the town. If you're really into cosmic horror, if you're into more Lovecraftian horror, this is definitely something that I would recommend. This is definitely different from, just your typical slasher or your typical haunted house or ghost or anything like that. This is just going to give you a little more, if you're looking for, a little deeper of a story and a surprise ending. So I really, really love this movie. If you're going to watch any of them, I would definitely suggest this one or maybe Event Horizon. Those are probably my top two. So that was my 13 horror movies. Hopefully there's some on there that you haven't heard of or that you're really excited to check out. I thought about doing a horror TV show just to kind of give you some TV shows that we really enjoyed. If you're interested in that, just let me know in the comments if that's something that you would want to watch, or if you have any Halloween recommendations for me of horror movies. So just hit me up in the comments and hit that like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.